Alright, welcome in. I'm the Kodiak, and before we get into this video, I'm dedicating this video to the Hyro guy who's a Jets fan. That is one of my most active and loyal subscribers, so thank you for all your support. Really helps me as a small YouTuber just trying to kick off my passion off the ground. Yeah, thank you very much for all your comments, and let's get right into it. So when I think about the New York Jets and what direction they are headed in as a team, as a franchise, they pretty much have to go all in this year. Rodgers virtually has no upside as a 40-year-old quarterback coming off a pretty severe Achilles tear in a miserable offensive ecosystem. This team to me doesn't have much to be excited about. I don't think it's going to be any different from the past few years where the defense has just done great, but the offense has really struggled to get going. And in my opinion, they're probably looking at another 7-10 finish. And when the athletic report came out describing Hackett and Rodgers as frat brothers, that didn't really inspire things either. But Hackett, Carter, and Downing were all a significant part of the worst offenses in the league in 2022. And the fact that they are all on one coaching staff now is just absolutely miserable. Shows me that this team has nowhere to go but down. This team is going to be stout defensively. Their defense is nasty, and I can't wait to see what Salah cooks up next year. But when you have a lack of talent on offense as big as they do, which, by the way, I hope Wilson and Breece Hall can get the team around them that they deserve, because those guys are absolutely phenomenal, and they're both already superstars in this league. Add playing on a team like the Jets for an offense being so miserable, and that has to be frustrating and mind-numbing for them. So they have to go offense with this pick. It would be almost irresponsible not to. And based on the way this team is set up, let's talk about where they can go. They should be thinking about a quarterback, but the Rodgers ego won't allow it. So that kind of takes it out of the equation. And no, I don't think any quarterback outside of May, Daniels, or Williams is worth a first-round pick. Therefore, I don't think they should reach on one, but it is something they should consider if Nix or Penix is there in the second round. Wide receiver. Now, they have immediate needs filled on their wide receiver depth chart. They have Mike Williams. They just got Corey Davis back from retirement. At the same time, I don't think that those two players should really deter you from drafting Odunze if he's there. I think Odunze here would be fine, but they do have a more pressing need on the O-line, and O-line will track for a while. Odunze would be not the worst pick in the world, but based on the way this team is set up, going anywhere but O-line would be absolutely horrendous. I know that Brock Bowers is a great player, and Brock Bowers is probably the most commonly mocked player to the New York Jets, but at the same time, taking Brock Bowers when you can't figure out your other skill position players and how to maximize their production while you have no bona fide talent on the offensive line would just be terrible. Moses and Smith as tackles are just temporary players. The fact that they're both older players definitely signifies that the offensive line is not something that the Jets should pass over, especially when you have a quarterback who is very immobile at this stage of his career. Why would you not take an offensive lineman? Because the only way old quarterbacks now succeed, if you can't move, the way any quarterback who can't move succeeds now is with a kick-ass O-line right in front of them. So let's just talk about the guys who I think should be in consideration for the Jets here. So Joe Alt, he is remarkably athletic. Alt is very athletic. He's a good run blocker. He holds up very well against power, but at the same time, I don't really know why they would take him if they weren't just going to slot him in as a tackle immediately and then kick Smith to guard. But anyway, talking about Fatanu, this one is one that really intrigues me. And Fatanu's ability to play both tackle and guard for a team like the Jets, who are trying to go all in this year, would be great. He's extremely agile and quick in pass protection with active, varied strikes to mirror, and he keeps rushers guessing. He's got great movement on the line. And Fuaga is also a great player. He only allowed 1 sack in 2 seasons. The pass protection technique is outstanding. Has very good athleticism to mirror and match edge-to-edge rush movements. Run blocking is a bit of a work in progress, but at the same time, I think they really can't go wrong between Alt, Fatanu, or Fuaga, even though I expect Alt to be off the board by this point. So Olu Fashanu, this is kind of a guy who I think prospect fatigue is kind of setting into. He's extremely agile and quick in pass protection with active, varied strikes to mirror, and he keeps rushers guessing. He's everything you want in the left tackle with frame, height, and weight. The Saints have been looking for their Armstead replacement ever since Penning walked, though, and I think he makes more sense for the Saints than he does for the Jets at this point. J.C. Latham might be the strongest player I've ever seen. He's an incredible anchor, and I don't think there's a single NFL player who would actually genuinely successfully bull rush him. He also has a ton of potential in the run game, but the main weakness is he isn't that great of a mover laterally. And if the Jets were to draft him, they'd pretty much be stuck with him at guard. Whereas if you were to take a guy like Fatanu, you would be able to kick him out to every sort of offensive line position. And Amarius Mims, would Joe Douglas go full on high ceiling again and take Amarius Mims there, or is he against it after what they did to Mekhi Becton? He's very raw in terms of how many snaps he's played, but he's played extremely well in a limited sample. And if he had played every snap this year instead of being hurt, I think he'd be a top 10 pick. He's shown to be extremely coachable and has no issues playing at a high level. So now that I've gone over what direction the Jets should go with him the first, let's talk about the player who I want them to draft is. It's Fatanu. I know I already kind of alluded to it, but I think he makes the most sense here because he's a guard tackle hybrid and you can play him on the interior while Smith and Moses are chugging along and playing. This would fill an immediate need on the interior. It would give Rodgers another security blanket. And yeah, you're drafting for the next 3, 4, 5 years. So I think Fatanu makes the most sense here. And yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.